So the first question I have to ask, are your readings for entertainment purposes only, or are you a legitimate psychic able to accurately describe future or current events that are verifiably beyond our knowledge?
Sure, absolutely. I don't consider what I do for entertainment at all.
Okay.
I do parties, but still I'm giving readings and really tapping into people's energy.
Okay. Do you think that you were born with psychic powers, or is this something that you developed later in life? And is it something, like we discussed before, is it something that everyone is capable of, or even just a lucky few?
I think everyone's capable of it. I consider it, we call it the sixth sense for a reason. I feel just as there are physical senses that we tap into, there's an extra layer of a spiritual sense. Everyone can do it. I teach people how to do it. I think it's more just opening a channel, and once you know what it feels like, it's easy to start practicing and tapping in. So I think everyone has that gift, and for me personally, I think I was born with it, born with the channel open. Other people may need practice or may need help opening that channel.
Can you describe the process or mechanism by which you reach your psychic conclusions? Do you see images? Do you feel answers? Do you dream the future?
It's just a sense of knowing, you know, it's like I always tell people, it's like it comes in the back of my mind, just from a distant place. It's not an audible voice, and I usually don't get visions for people. My readings are usually based on the questions people ask. So I let people come in, I sit down, I'm just being very comfortable. In my readings, it's not so much about a test. What do you know? What can you see? And I always tell people that. And it's not so much about a prediction. It's more about seeing through how people make their decisions, seeing through who they are to see exactly how things will unfold for them. So it's just a sense of knowing, and I take my time and I breathe through it. It's letting go of fear. Just what do I feel about this person? And it's been accurate. It's been good.
So I personally am a very scientific-minded person, and I've never felt that I had psychic abilities, but I do have, I call them aha moments or epiphanies. I have moments where I'm sitting and thinking and I have something of deep clarity. I would describe it as a sense of knowing. For me, I look to science to explain how that happens, and I've known a lot of different explanations for how we can have those feelings. Is it possible in your mind that that's what you're feeling and that it's not literally a psychic power, that it could be something that is already scientifically explained?
I believe it's the exact same thing. I consider myself a spirit scientist. So I absolutely believe in the laws of physics come into play here. The laws of the brain and the mechanisms, the mini model of the universe in your mind. I'm an avid believer and studier of all that stuff. So I think it's the same thing. I think people try to separate spiritual occurrences, which I think is just another word for your own brain and your own physical abilities as a human being to connect to other human beings. I think it's absolutely a biological thing that we're all connected. So it helps when you have that understanding to let go and relax and just in a personable way, in an energetic way, in an intimate way, be able to connect to people. So I definitely think it comes from the same place.
How accurate would you say your readings are? Do you think that you're able to give an estimated percentage of hits over misses, for instance?
Sure. I would say for specific questions asked, hit or miss, does it happen exactly so? I would say with direct predictions, I'm about 85% accurate. And I would say any of the inconsistencies, some of that comes from me, just being human. I don't think I'm a god in any sense. And I always tell people that. If there's any, I'm accountable. That's the thing. It's also the counseling that comes with it to help people make decisions. So 85%. And I believe that a little bit of percentage of inaccuracy comes from people changing their mind, waking up one day and taking a totally different path, and that's okay.
When you make these predictions, like you're saying, these direct yes or no, or will this happen type of thing, is that something that you use exclusively your subconscious mind to make these guesses, or do you think that you use logic too? I mean, I can look at a person and I can judge who they are, and I can say, you're more likely to succeed in this, you look organized, you look like you're ready to do it. Is that something that comes into your mind? Or?
Absolutely. And I think a lot of people coming into a reading don't know that that's okay to do that as a psychic. I think unrealistic expectations make people a believer or someone that thinks it's just a cold reading. I lay it all on the table. I'm a very intellectual person, I'm a very left brain person, and I think sometimes that's why I've been able to do so well, because people trust that. I'm not trying to say, I've got this amazing gift that I'm just gonna tell you everything that's gonna happen. I do look at a person, I do read and take cues, but I tell them that. So in integrity, they have a choice. Do you want my rational understanding as well, or do you want me to just tell you what I feel? You know, so I give people a choice of what they want me to access and how.
To me, it sounds like, in your readings, it sounds to me a lot like something that a counselor, like a psychologist or something, could and does do regularly. Aside from the fact that you probably don't have a psychology degree, is there anything that you would say definitely differentiates your work from that of a psychologist who would go for counseling for issues with wealth or marriage or anything like that?
Yes. The big difference for me is there is that specific information that comes from no prompting. I would say information, if someone sits down and says, just tell me about me, tell me about what's been going on. I don't think just a person that doesn't have that sixth sense open, just a regular psychologist, someone that's studied people, is able to pull that information just off of a cold read. I don't think it's a bad thing. You know, I think 50% of the work that I do is actually looking into a person's life without any information. 50% people want a psychologist, they want a therapy session, and I tell them that. I don't think you are here for me to tell you information you didn't know. I think you wanted validation, and it's easy for me to do that. I think what I try to do that sets me apart is be totally transparent about that. 50% comes from a gift of just innately seeing what's going on more than the average person, and 50% is my ability just to connect to people in general and being able to read